I was just at the farmer's market about 2 hours ago, shopping for avocados and some strawberries. And I found this booth that had fresh hummus with about 15 different varieties. I stopped by there and I tried a couple of them with pita chips. They were okay, nothing really special. I saw the price, pick any three for $11. That's kind of pricey for me on my budget right here. However, I reached a piece of pita, my last sample, and dipped into what they call it, a fiery hummus. I tried it, and I fell in love with it. All of a sudden, I felt like I'm over at IKEA looking at all different games and different flat screen TVs for sale. I was like, wow. I was very tempted. I looked at the price again. 3 for $11. Doesn't seem so bad after all. I was going to reach my wallet, and then reason knocked on my head and told me, remember what you can buy with $11 at 99 Ranch Market. Oh. So I stepped back, evaluate my budget, and I said, I can always come back next month. They're always going to be here. So I forced myself to turn away from that hummus booth and focus on something else, like my speech for today. Have you ever been to a predicament where you find yourself in a situation where you cannot decide whether you want to buy a nice pair of shoes that's on sale right now, or your mortgage or your rent? Have you ever made a decision when you purchase something or said something to somebody that you later regret? There was a study, a recent one, made by 2 economists, Dr. Daniel Wood from Clemson University and Dr. Carlin from Yale University, that published a study that looked at how people donate based on the information given to them. The charity was to feed the hungry, and they're presented to previous donors on how much would these donors present by giving them different pieces of information. What they found out was that donors who tend to give a large sum of money tend to be more moved by evidence-based appeals, such as where's money going to, what's the statistics, how effective is their donation to the charity. On the other hand, if you present the same piece of information, the statistics and information to those people who actually donate less but more frequently to larger amounts of charity, they tend to get turned off by it. They're not as moved by facts and statistics as opposed to a picture of a hungry child asking for food. So in other words, what charities begin to find out is that if they're going to target to donors who contribute smaller amounts but more frequently, they should use more emotional appeals to get them to donate. For people with large amounts of money, information, facts, statistics would do a better job at making them donate their money. But how does this all work exactly? How can emotions play a part in how we all think? How can it affect us at different degrees? It all goes back to Aristotle, who once said that in order to have an effective debate or an argument, you need 3 appeals, which is logos, stands for logic, ethos stands for ethics, and pathos, which stands for emotions. You need all 3 to have a successful stance in your side of the story. Even so, it would be very difficult for anyone to refute it. Logic appeal looks at mostly facts, statistics, evidence, and also acknowledgement that there is an opposition. That whatever you say could also be the opposite. However, people who tend to misuse this type of appeal tend to either use false information or use in different ways to manipulate facts to bring out their own stance by ignoring other facts that also opposes it. The second part is ethics. This establishes the speaker or the writer's credibility, their knowledge, their honesty, their rapport with the audience. does the speaker or the writer have the ethics? Are they speaking or writing for the greater good, or are they doing it more for their own personal selfish reasons? The third one, the fun one, emotions. Emotions probably is the one, in my opinion, is the one that can override logic and ethics. Having some emotions is good, but having too much emotions can cloud judgment. It can make us do things impulsively in a complex situation, like a relationship with your spouse or your significant other. And emotions can also bring out the best in people as well. So, for example, in times of war, in World War II, there were a lot of propaganda on all fronts, from the Axis powers to the Allied powers. I think most of us here recognize that a lot of the propaganda made by the United States and also in Russia and also even in Germany and China affect how people respond, whether they want to participate in the war or not. One of the propaganda that I did my own look on Google is that there was a picture of a Russian mother holding her son with a bayonet aimed right at them, with a swastika symbol at the very end. I do not understand what the Russian says in the bottom, but the message is quite clear. She is afraid, she is protective of her son, and she is being very defiant at the same time. She showed fear, but at the same time, in her eyes, there's no fear. I don't know what made me focus on that poster for a long time, looking at that, staring at that poster. Even without understanding the language, it made me feel like I do want to join the Russian army if I was living back in 1942. and this is how powerful emotions can evolve in propaganda in times of war. And also, in advertising, there was a post a few days ago on boardpanda.com that I saw. It showed 40 different advertisements about social and environmental issues. They say that facts alone is not enough sometimes. Logic alone does not always get people to act and move and respond, or even make a change. One of the pictures that moved me the most was the one where you see an Eastern European mother holding a child. I do not understand what's going on with the child, whether he was sick or got shot. And around the mother and the child were a bunch of this. And the caption says, "Like is not enough." On the bottom, it asks people to volunteer, to take action of what's going on in the picture. So it does give people a motivation. Emotional appeal does give people a reason to act and to make a change. So I highly encourage everyone here to try to make a balance between both the logic, ethics, and the emotions. How can you integrate that into your life so that we don't let emotion take over our decisions? So otherwise, if I had let the emotions take over my decision at the farmer's market today, I would probably be $11 poorer right now, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.